Misinformation is as old as dirt. For as long as man has been able to speak, we've been able to say whatever we want without really thinking about whether or not it's true. It isn't a modern phenomenon either. It only seems that way because we can broadcast anything we want on social media. At some point, everyone will have their preconceived beliefs shattered when someone comes out and say that it isn't true. You are not immune to it, no matter how smart you think you are. The Disney parks are no stranger to this, and a good-sized chunk of stories that get passed around are completely untrue. Cinderella Castle can't be disassembled in the event of a hurricane. There isn't an entire basketball court in the Matterhorn, and Walt Disney's frozen remains are not underneath Disneyland. Some of this seems obvious, but people believe these kinds of things and repeat them to each other. There's only so much you can do to stop it, but damn it, we're gonna try. You've already read the title, so you know that this week we'll be taking some time to debunk common myths and misconceptions about the Haunted Mansion. Because an attraction that's over 50 years old has a lot of time to build up a lot of misinformation. These won't be in any particular order, and this isn't a comprehensive list or anything like that. These are just a few things I find interesting enough to talk about. To make something clear, it's okay if you believed any of these things we're about to discuss. This isn't even serious. These are just little myths. So don't take this as a condemnation or anything like that. We're all having fun here. I think I've spent enough time going over everything, so let's just go ahead and get started. One of the most talked about parts of the ride is the quintet of singing busts in the graveyard. Pretty much universally agreed upon as one of the coolest things about the attraction. Now, when you're passing by, someone in your party might point at one of them and say, "Hey, you know that's Walt Disney, right?" You might just nod your head and say, "Yeah, that seems legit." Then you finish the attraction and never think about it again. So you wouldn't know that your party member just told you something completely wrong. Remember that a lot of the development around the Haunted Mansion didn't take place until the late 60s, especially when it comes to recording and things like that. Walt Disney couldn't have done that, as he had a lot of being dead clogging up his schedule. Well then, who is the gentleman in the bust? That would be singer and voice actor Thurl Ravenscroft. You might best know him for this.
They're great!
Or this.
You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch.
Or this.
No dogs allowed.
Or even this.
I'm for getting out of here.
He was one of Disney's most prolific vocalists in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. So, he's just about everywhere. And that's extended to the parks. He's Fritz in the Tiki Room. He's Buck over at the Country Bear Jamboree. If you hear a deep bass in a Disney attraction, chances are it's him. So when your hypothetical party member says that bust is Walt Disney, you can politely correct them. Over at the Disneyland Mansion, there is a hearse parked right outside, drawn by an invisible horse. Ooh, spooky! Rumors persisted for years that this hearse was used in the funeral of Brigham Young, the once president of the Mormon Church. I know I said I'd try to explain how some of these rumors came to be, but I, for the life of me, don't know how the connection came to be. Disney has a tendency to use authentic props, so it would make sense that people would think they got a real hearse, but why him specifically? I can't tell you. What I can tell you is that it's completely false. The dude didn't even have a hearse at his funeral. Where it actually comes from is a bit of a mystery. It might have come from the same time period, but we don't know for certain. It had been fully restored by the time it ended up at Disney, purchased from an antique store in Woodmere, California. There's another rumor that Disney rushed to buy it before Knott's Berry Farm could get their hands on it, but that could be complete bullshit too. Whatever the case might be, it was parked in front of the mansion sometime in the 90s, and has been there ever since. But it never escorted any Mormons to their funeral. Any notable ones, at least. One of the most iconic pieces in the corridor doors is the chair next to the endless hallway. It's just so eye-catching, a chair with a weird face on it that you just can't ignore it. While going through, you might hear someone call it a hidden Donald, because the design kind of looks like Donald Duck. There's his hat, there's his bill, it's all there. If hidden Mickeys exist, why can't hidden Donalds? Here's the thing. That was not the intention. Hidden Mickeys weren't really a thing back then. If they happened, it was likely by accident, as opposed to nowadays where they're implemented intentionally. If Imagineers weren't thinking to insert hidden Mickeys into places, then they probably weren't thinking to insert hidden Donalds either. I'm not going to deny that the resemblance is there, but to say that was the intention is a total lie. Sorry, Donald. Back in the day before we had centralized social media, fans used to squint their eyes over every brick in the pavement near the Florida mansion. Why, you might ask? Because they're looking for the bride's wedding ring. Fans believed that a wedding ring was embedded into the bricks, thrown away by the bride from the attic. These fans were mistaken. This one's pretty easy to explain away. At the bride's exit, there used to be a turnstile. It was removed many years ago, but the hole where it was mounted in was left alone. And it kinda looked like a wedding ring. So if you happened to see it by chance, it might have reminded you that you just saw a bride, and you connected the two dots from there. Some cast members even started to play along with the idea. If you want to find it today, you're SOL. They paved over the hole where it once was. You might have better luck looking for it in the queue, though. I won't tell you exactly where it is, but keep your eyes open in the corners. You might find a very tiny wedding ring embedded into the walkway. What started off as just fan lore has been accepted by Disney and incorporated into the canon. So while not intentionally put there by Imagineering, it's still a testament to the creativity and imagination of fans. Happy ending, no matter how you look at it. The 2007 refurb brought many new additions. One of the more notable ones was a changing portrait hallway. An iconic part of the Disneyland mansion was finally brought to the Florida mansion. However, people weren't interested in any of the paintings. They were interested in the little mirror that hung next to it. According to author Fox Nolte, who used to work at the mansion, a guest once came up to him asking when a mirror effect had been added. And it wasn't an isolated question. Multiple people were convinced that there was a face in the mirror. Allegedly, one man took a picture of the mirror and captured a boy's face. People have alleged ghost sightings in the mansion for years. I talked about a couple of them in the iceberg video, so go check that out if you want to learn more. Whatever you think of the validity of these claims, many people are convinced that there's an effect in the mansion's mirror. I've done the research. Disney likes showing off special effects, so if there was something put into the mirror, they'd most likely tell us. Now, there have been some ideas for this gag. Concept art exists of it, but to our knowledge, it was never implemented. It does seem odd that they didn't just include another portrait and just put a random mirror there. If you look at concept art for the hallway, in its place is the April-December painting. But for whatever reason, she was nixed. So why are people seeing something in the mirror? I know it's an odd thing to say in regards to the Haunted Mansion, but it's probably just your imagination. You can see the windows flashing from the mirror. You're already in kind of a spooky mood. So your mind starts playing tricks on you and you see faces that aren't there. Maybe they have that effect in the Berenstain universe, but in our universe, there isn't anything there. In the organist video, I mentioned that there was a crypt in the interactive queue that might belong to him. But that's neither here nor there. On the crypt, there is the name Ravenscroft. I made the assumption that Ravenscroft might be the name of the crypt's owner. I was wrong. I learned this completely by chance watching a live stream on TikTok. One by the Disney Parks account, so this isn't just fan conjecture. Anyways, the person in the stream said that Ravenscroft is the name of the company that made the organ on the crypt. This explanation makes sense. Think about real-life pianos. The brand names are always placed above the keys. I can't show you proof because TikTok doesn't archive live streams, so you'll just have to take my word for it. The owner of the crypt might still be a mystery, but it is not someone named Ravenscroft. And rounding off these misconceptions, even though these weren't in any particular order, allow me to take you back a few years. You're younger and you're going on the Haunted Mansion for the first time. You enter the foyer and you see the portrait of a young, pretty man. As he starts aging, you hear the voice of the ghost host for the first time. Whether you realize it or not, your mind just made a connection. Oh, The guy on the wall must be the voice I'm hearing right now. Further reinforced when you enter the stretching room and see the skeleton in the attic. The last phase of the portrait was a guy as a skeleton, so clearly they're the same. Then you think back to the graveyard. Wasn't there a headstone that was named after someone called Master? Oh yeah, Master Gracie. Why wouldn't the master of his house have a portrait of himself as you entered his home? And as you already think that the portrait is the ghost host, logic dictates that the ghost host must be Master Gracie. Perfectly logical conclusions to draw based on what you see. Too bad that's not the real story. Now, by all accounts, the aging man is Master Gracie. You can find a bunch of merchandise and the like that confirms it. But Master Gracie is not now, nor has he ever been confirmed to be, the ghost host. On construction walls that went up around the mansion in 2007, there was a letter signed by our ghost host, and he once specifically called himself Master Gracie. However, it was removed shortly later, so clearly that was a mistake. As author Jason Sorrell put it, the ghost host is not the master of the house, Gracie or otherwise, but merely one of the 999 happy haunts. Long story short, anytime this has come up, Disney has been quick to correct it. You can keep having your own headcanons and stuff, but by all accounts, Master Gracie is not the ghost host. And those were just a few of the myths and misconceptions that exist about the Haunted Mansion. I know these aren't all of them, so what are some that I've missed? Ones that you've heard repeated over and over again that really drive you up the wall? Whatever your thoughts, let me know down in the comments. If you'd like to support the show, please consider checking out my Patreon or Ko-fi page. If not, then be sure to like and subscribe to see more of my stuff. But that's all the time I've got for today. Thank you so much for watching as always, and I will talk to you guys soon. Take care.
Thank you.